Good morning, everyday math guys. As always, here is our joke. What do you get when you cross a sheep and a bee? Well, that could only be a bah humbug. Alright, so first thing I want to start off with is just a quick review before we jump into some more review. So today's material you have already learned, I'm pretty sure you have, so it's going to be a review, but bear with me. But I just want to remind you of the change that I had to make last week. Now if you remember when we were talking about dividing fractions, like right here, is that I said you could flip any one, but I've got to change that. That's wrong. You can only flip the second fraction. So when I say flip, what that means, the math word is reciprocal. You're finding the reciprocal. Reciprocal? I forget. But that's really awful handwriting, but reciprocal. So what you do is you only flip the second one. So when you flip it, or when you find the reciprocal, you turn it into a multiplication problem. And you treat it the same. So you can do 1 times 4, or you could cancel it out and do, kind of find the common factor, so then you end up with 2 over 3. Okay, so that's just a quick review. Remember, if you meet anything that has a dividing of a fraction, you must flip or find the reciprocal of the second fraction. Okay, so now moving on to new stuff, or the not really new stuff. But remember, what does the word integer mean? An integer is a positive or a negative number. Okay, so whenever I say the word integer, it really means a positive or negative number. It also includes 0, which is not positive or negative. It's special. Alright, so I'm on page 214 of your math journal, and this is just going to be a really quick review, and we're talking about what do we do with multiplication of integers when we're multiplying positive and negative numbers. So I'm just going to kind of do a few of them with you right out of your math journal, and hopefully this video will be short. Alright, so our first problem is just a good old 6 times 4, and you all know the answer that is 24. Now what if I flip it, not like the reciprocal, but what if I add in negative 6 times 4? Well, what our rule is, and what we're going to learn, is whenever you have a sign, so we're going to say that this negative is the negative sign, whenever you have a negative sign being multiplied by something of a different sign, so this is a positive 4, then the answer is always going to be negative. So if you're multiplying signs that are different, your answer is always going to be negative. It doesn't matter if I do 6 times negative 4, they're not the same, so you're still going to get a negative answer. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. If I do negative 6 times negative 4, then our answer is actually going to be positive. And our rule is that if the signs are the same, then the answer will always be positive. So let's write something down. So signs equal or do not equal, then that means negative. If the signs equal's not the best. I shouldn't say equal. Signs are same. What's a symbol for the same? We'll use the parallel line symbol. So signs are parallel, the same. Then that means that the answer is always going to be, not the same. We don't want same. We want signs are different. I'm confusing myself and confusing you. Okay, signs are different. We're just going to write this out. Gotta stop doing this. Signs different, diff, then that means the answer will be negative. If the signs are the same, then that means that the answer will be positive. So here's our rule for this one. And then these two are our rule for different. So let's just get some clear white space again. So moving on down to the bottom of the page, we've got -4 times +1. So first thing, are our signs different or the same? Remember, if they're different, our answer will be negative, and if they're the same, then the answer would be positive. So a positive times a positive number is positive, and a negative times a negative number is positive. But here we have a negative times a positive, so our answer will be negative. Okay? Now let's throw a fraction in the midst. So we have -2/3 times -4/5. Okay, so let's look at our signs. So our signs are the same, so we know our answer is going to be positive. So now we just treat this normal, 8/15, and it is positive. Okay, so it applies to anything. Okay. Double checking my book to make sure I've covered everything I want to cover. And I think that's it for now. So go ahead and start your assignment, and as always, I will see you in real life.